I'm Dave Cyderbaby for Rock Radio UK. Today, I'm speaking to the legend that is Andy from Toykyo Blade.
Good afternoon to you and all you listening fans.
Hello, sir. You're looking nice and relaxed and chilled.
Yeah, it's all good. Everything's good. I'm always a chilled out guy.
Good, good. We have just had a bit of a laugh here before recording, haven't we? Uh,
Yeah.
m- my my idiot son, trying to be clever, has just been caught out. But less of that. We're here to talk about you. Um, Tokyo Blade, you've got a new album out next year.
We have, yeah, another new one. Yeah, we can't stop.
No.
Um, no, we keep going. There's nothing else to do. That's how we fill up our hours.
I mean, you've been going for a couple of years now, haven't you?
40,
Yeah.
41,
Yeah.
42, something.
Shall we gloss over how long that is?
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
No,
Not
no.
at all.
But I was at school. But
um,
yeah. I mean, you sort of been following my life around because I knew of Tokyo Blade when I was a kid at school and various things. And you've always been in the background as well, trundling away. And you've churned out
yeah,
quite a few albums now as well, haven't you?
yeah. I think this is either studio album. I've lost count. I think it's either 10 or 11.
Mm.
Sure. Actually, I can tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Studio album. Uh, yeah, studio album 11.
That is good going.
Mm, mm.
Did you
Yeah,
ever
not
did
bad.
you expect to get this far?
Um, um, if if somebody had told me, you'll still be recording albums into your 60s, I'd have probably said no, don't be silly.
Yeah.
Um, and I probably wouldn't if it wasn't for the fact that I built my home studio several years ago and just really used it for demos. We used to Al and
Mm.
I, Alan and I, write an awful lot together.
Right.
Um, and Wiltshire's very quiet. As I say, my village. There's since they drummed the cartels out of my village, it's very quiet. There's nothing much to do. Um, and we've always lived fairly close together. So we write a lot. In actual fact, we were talking to I was talking to um, Dan from our record company,
Yeah.
and he said, have you got anything unreleased? And I sent him a whole bundle of stuff, and he said, fuck me. He said, you are. He said, to say that you're prolific is an understatement. I said, well, yeah, we keep going. He said, this is all stuff that it's just stuff that, didn't make the grade, or for one reason or another, we didn't think it was suitable for Tokyo Blade. So, but originally, Al and I used to just really use it for demos because I didn't, I didn't really have much confidence in myself as
Okay.
an engineer. Um, and it came to the crunch, I think, when we did the Unbroken album, and we went to France to record that. And I just came back and listened to what we'd done. Luckily, I took the stems with me, and I came back and listened to it, and I thought, this is not cutting a dash at all.
Okay.
And I started messing around with it myself, and it was really Al who, Alan said to me, Christ, Andy, your demos are better than this. So
Yeah.
I said, well, I don't know, a worldwide release of an album and me mixing it really. But we went for it, and we were pleased with it. Or at least I think I'm always self-critical anyway. So I was fairly pleased with it. It certainly salvaged the album.
Right.
And then from then on, I started carried on recording started actually recording the whole band and mixing it. And then after a while of various people mastering it and me listening to the end result and thinking, that's not what I would have done. The trouble is, I think I'm not pouring putting any disrespect onto anybody that has mixed or mastered our stuff, but your own vision is one, and you're never going to get anybody really to see your vision of it unless you do it yourself. And people have said to me in the past, is it is it a sort of an ego thing that you need to mix it and record it and master it? And no, it's not. It's just that I know how I want it to sound, and
Yeah.
obviously nobody else really knows how I want it to sound, and I'm just fed up now with being disappointed.
Mm.
Because again, not because they've done a crap job. I don't mean that. It's just that they're. The other thing about it is that if you give somebody an album to mix and master, they're never going to take the time and care that you are over it, because they're getting paid to do a job. You could say to a mixer engineer, "There's no time limit. You can charge me 200 quid a day. Just want it, and keep sending mixes back to him. No, this isn't quite right. That isn't quite right." You could do it that way, but we can't afford that. And
No.
so that's how I really got involved in it. And this is the first album that I've actually mastered myself. So this is
Okay.
breaking new ground for me. I wouldn't say that I'm a mastering engineer. I wouldn't say I'm not a mastering engineer. To me, I listen to something I've done. If it sounds good to me, then it is good. It doesn't matter what I've done to achieve it. So that's kind of how I look at it. That's my theory.
Okay. Well, just one of the questions I was going to, or one of the statements I was going to say is
Mm-hmm.
this probably sounds the best that Toykyo Blade have sounded in, well, my memory.
Thank you.
Each song is sounding crisp, clear, well produced, well mastered, and yeah, I think you're right about that little bit of vision as well, because you have that vision yourself. You know which direction you want
Yeah,
the band to go in,
yeah,
and whereas some bands need a little bit of outside help, shall we say?
yeah. That's very true. That's a very good point. And obviously, there's lots of examples of that. When Desmond Child was banging out all the stuff for Kiss and Bon Jovi and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It, we to me, again, this is my personal opinion. I don't really want somebody to write a song for me. I can do it
Hmm.
myself. I I just rather do it myself. To me, that's part of songwriting is as much a part of being a musician as playing.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that if you can write good songs and have good ideas and come up with good stuff, then do it. And we've never worried. I've never worried about it, because I my whole outlook has always been, well, if people like it, they'll listen to it. If they don't like it, well, don't fucking listen to it. It's as simple as that. We get we get our critics, like everybody else does, and we've got
Hmm.
a particular critic who slams everything that we've done except for the first and second album. And I don't take any notice of him. I just think, well, fuck off, mate. We're not going to make the first and second album 11 times. What would be the
No.
point?
Uh,
You progress. It's a journey. Music is a journey, and you hone your craft, and you hopefully get better, and you get better as a player, and better as a producer, and better as an engineer.
hmm.
And you get to a point where you're relatively happy with it, and you go, okay, I'm happy for people to listen to that and stick my name on it. And if somebody doesn't like it, well, turn it off. It's as simple as that. Don't
It,
fucking listen to it.
it does annoy me when people are like stuck in the past and they say, "Oh, it's only the first album I like" and stuff like that. They're
Oh, I
never the
know.
same, and
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
they miss the point. You've got to be creative, and that is something you've been very creative. I mean, there's 14 tracks on this album. You haven't got a
yeah.
filler at all that I can
No,
listen.
I don't think so. I
I
don't
don't,
think that.
and it just goes to show that, like you say, you're very prolific as a writer. I mean, I'd love to hear the ones you threw away not putting on this album, to be fair, because I reckon there's still some banging tracks you've written.
Well, I don't want to spill the beans too early.
Okay,
Uh,
right.
but there is talk of either later on next year or possibly the beginning of 26, an album coming out which has got a very rough, very rough live gig on it.
Okay.
From 84, and some previously unreleased tracks. So I can't say too much about it because it's not cast in stone yet. It might not happen, but it's certainly been bandied about at the moment. And I've been digging out all sorts of old stuff, and including old photographs, which that in itself was quite. It's quite an eye opener. I found a photograph of us and Metallica together. Right. Some old posters back in the day from the first big festival we did, which was RRUK Day, which was Venom headlining, Metallica second on the bill, us third on the bill. Of course, we knew back then we knew Metallica very well. In fact, Lars and James Hetfield used to come to England quite a lot, and they would actually stay at Andy Wrighton, our old bass player. They would stay at Andy's house in London, just outside London, because they were, coming over a lot. So, we've got a long sort of history with Metallica. It's just that they made loads of fucking money and we didn't. So, there you go. I'm not bitter.
No.
So going through a lot of old photographs and a lot of old posters and stuff, and it was sent it all off to the record company to see what they think, and so there might be a chance there'll be some. We're quite, Alan and I are quite we're quite tough on songs. So we've written songs in the past and thought, yeah, that's good. And then when it's come to like narrowing it down for what's going on the album, we're like, it's not making the grade. What do you think, Al? No, it's not. No, I'm with you. It's not really. And so they'll go on the back burner. Sometimes what we'll do, in actual fact, is there might be a break in the song or a verse or something that's good, or we think, oh yeah, that's really good, and we'll just nick that and use it later on in something else.
Yeah.
So nothing really goes to waste. And because we're as prolific as we are, we just like writing anyway. So it doesn't matter. If it doesn't make the grade, it doesn't make the grade.
Okay. Let's go through a couple of tracks on the album. I mean, you open with a right stonker, Feeding a Rat.
Feeding the Rat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. That was really good. But well, you got two singles out so far, Moth to Flame and Don't Bleed Over Me. And
yeah.
To be honest, you must struggle to find what track to use as a single, because they would all stand out and they would all, speaking as a radio guy, each track would play on the radio, no problem, as a single.
Thank you. That's really kind. Ultimately, we don't really make the decision. Dan from our record company normally says, I'm going to put out this one, and this one as singles. Are you okay? And we just go, yeah, whatever. So we're not. I think basically it comes down to my own particular problem, because I do I do most of the sort of corresponding with people, and obviously since Toykyo Blade has always been sort of my band, the instigator of the whole thing, and in that time, because I'm a gobshite, people said, well, you can do all the interviews and you can deal with the record companies and you can do this, and it's just something that I've ended up doing. And the one of my I don't know whether it's a problem or a failing, but one of my things is that once I've done something, I never listen to it again. It's gone. That's really? Yesterday. Yeah. I won't ever listen to this album again. It's done. Okay. It's gone. Let's move on to the next thing. And so I get to a point with it. It might be. It is my nature anyway, but it might be the fact that I've written it, recorded it, mixed it, mastered it. I'm sick of the sound of it. So that's got. I think that's got some bearing on it. But Alan has always called me Mr. Disposable, because he used to say, "Oh, that riff that you were playing yesterday," and I'd be like, "Oh, what riff?" oh, you know that one, and we both agreed it was, it was really good. Did we? And he said to me one day, he said, "Oh, Mister Fucking Disposable, or what?" And I said, "What do you mean by that?" He said, "I mean, you've done something." He said, "You're off on the next thing." He said, "That's all. That's gone. That's yesterday's news." I said, "Well, yeah, I am a bit like." Um,
Okay.
so I very, very, very rarely listen to our old stuff.
Okay.
Um, it's just the way I am. It's not because I don't like it or anything. I just don't listen to it.
Okay. So this question I normally ask everybody, but I think this one's got quite a special twist to it. Which of the songs on this album would you go back and listen to again?
Oh,
Which
blimey.
ones? Which
I've
ones
got
really stick out for you?
I've got to think what songs are on the album. Um, let me think. Uh, my own, yeah. No, I can answer this. I think my own personal favourites would be Ramesses,
Yes.
um, which I love because I love doing orchestral arrangements when they're suitable. It's not something I do for the sake of it, but that track was so sort of I don't know, the whole thing sort of ended up sounding so epic.
Mm.
To me anyway. Somebody else might say, well, it sounds shite, but to me it sounded quite epic, and it lent itself really well to the orchestral thing at the end with the French horns and the whole, that whole thing.
Mm.
And I enjoy doing that. I enjoy composing very much. And so I think, yeah, Ramesses, I would say, um, like you, I love Feeding the Rat. That's a
Mm.
that's a good track. That's a good one. I like Man on the Stairs.
Yeah.
Man on the Stair. Um, that's a good track. I think those would probably be my sort of standout tracks on the album.
Mm. I mean, only one I'd add to that is says the 47. I
The
think.
47, yeah, the 47 is yeah, that's I love with Alan. I've always loved working with Alan, and what I love about Alan is, apart from the fact he's a great vocalist, is he puts a lot of thought and time
Mm.
into his lyrics, and he kind of already knew the whole backstory behind the 47, the Ronin
Mm.
and the whole thing. And it was interesting because he was telling me, you know, because a lot of the songs I've got no idea what they're about. I mean, I don't write lyrics, so Al does that. And he sort of told me the whole sort of backstory to that, which was really interesting. So yeah, the 47, yeah, that's a track I do. Yeah, I'll totally agree with you on that. I'd forgotten about that one.
Mm. That's why I reminded you. No. So what's next? I mean, as you say, you like forever moving forward. I mean, are there going to be live gigs?
It's unlikely.
Right.
There's a lot of reasons for that. The age of the band, Brexit.
Mm.
There's a lot of. I mean, I've always said never say never.
Right.
I would say it's unlikely. One of the big problems that we do have is that we all live, apart from Alan and I, we all live miles apart from each other now. So even getting the band together, it's like people say to me all the time, oh, if I send you, I get this all the time. If I send you an album, can you get it signed? No, I can sign. Al can sign it. That's not much of a problem. The others, no. I haven't seen our drummer Steve for probably nearly 2 years. I
Really?
haven't even heard him, so I don't know where he is or what he's up to. Um, Steve lives in just the other side of Guildford, that's probably only about an hour and a half drive from me.
Mm.
Andy the bass player lives in Ross on Wye, which is a good two and a bit hours away. And John lives in it's basically very North Essex. It's almost Norfolk.
Well,
So it's about four
we
hours
don't
schlep here.
we don't mention that area.
What, Essex or?
Well, no, my business partner Lee on the station, he's from that area. We just try and
Oh, right, just
yeah.
trying to book.
Yeah, just try and avoid it. No, there
Yeah,
is a bit of competition actually. How many of the DJs on the station are from his area and my area of Southwest? Obviously, the Southwest wins, but
of course it would do naturally.
I mean, it's
Of
God's country, isn't it?
course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
So
So,
where are you based?
I'm based in Mid Devon.
Mid Devon. Devon's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pig to get anywhere, but hey.
But hey, yeah, it's lovely down there.
So yeah, I mean, not looking quite so lovely at the weather at the moment, but
No, we've actually got it's a bright sunny day outside here, which is a novelty.
hmm,
After Storm Bertie or Bert or whoever it was, yeah, it's lovely and sunny. Set to be a nice weekend, apparently.
okay.
Still a bit cold side, but yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to keep you too much longer because I think we could chat for hours.
I
Um,
think we're good, yeah.
but the new album, Time is in the Fire, is
Time
out.
is the fire.
Time is the
Yeah,
Fire, sorry. I haven't got my glasses on, that's why yeah, I'm reading too much. Time is the Fire. Is out in January, I believe.
yeah. That's the release date that's set. So hopefully, all being well, it should be January.
Okay. So they're going to be vinyl, CDs, that sort of thing, or
Stand that we're doing another double vinyl, same as we did with Fury,
hmm.
and then obviously the CD version, and then there'll be the usual Spotify, iTunes stuff as well. So
You sound very despondent about
it, it's it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? I mean,
that.
it's given exposure. The digital age has given exposure to so many bands. Great, fantastic. It's made music disposable,
Yes.
largely. And it's very much to the detriment of music, as far as I'm concerned, because people listening to the odd track here and the odd track there, they're not listening to the album, in general. Um, and of course, it's well, it's deprived the musicians of any earning potential.
Mm.
And you see all these guys now, and I mean, it's right through the industry, and you see it. I see it everywhere I look now, where you've got mixing engineers and mastering engineers, and they're on YouTube selling courses and
Mm.
money out of YouTube because they're not making any money anymore.
No.
Um, I mean, I remember when we did for example, when we did the 1,000 Men Strong album with Chris Sangarades, the dear late departed Chris Sangarades. I remember, and of course, Chris has worked. He's done albums with Yngwie Malmsteen, Black Sabbath,
Mm.
Gary Moore, Thin Lizzy. Very respected producer and engineer. And we drove down to see him. His studio was at Folkestone, and we went down there. And I said, "Well, how much to do the album, Chris?" It'll be about 13 grand. And I said, well, we're going to have to back out of that. I said, we haven't got 13 grand. And the next thing it was, well, what have you got? I said, I can scrape together 3 grand. That's it.
Mm.
Hey. And I was like, what? 13 grand to 3 grand in one fell swoop. I said,
Wow.
why? I said, if you don't mind me asking, I said, yeah, we'll go for it. Well, we can drum that up. I said, but how come? And he said, because basically I need to get as much as I can. He said, but if this studio sat empty, I'm not earning any money.
Mm.
So he said, better for me to have you guys in for 10 days for 3 grand than it to sit empty for 10 days with nothing. And he was telling us then about how the business used to be, where the record company would call him up and say, Chris, Gary Moore wants to do an album.
Yeah.
Where do you want to do it and how much you're going to charge? And, he could pick a studio and pick his price and toddle off and do it. And
Yeah.
everyone was happy. And it was, big, big money. But that's gone. That's all gone. I mean, it's probably still there for for your mega stars,
Yes.
but it certainly isn't there for anybody that's below below that level.
Mm,
So it's a double-edged sword. It's given exposure to a lot of bands. It's made it possible for bands to to get their stuff out there and get it listened to. So it's great in that respect, but it's just knocked the ass out of the industry.
mm,
So bands just don't make money anymore out of it. And as a result of that, they've got a lot of bands have just got into this sort of understandably apathetic attitude of, well, what's the point of doing another album? We're not going to make any money out of it. It's kind of
yeah.
got like that. So yeah, I think it's a shame, but there you go. That's progress. And I'll be
Mm.
dead soon. It doesn't really bother me.
I mean, I remember going back in the day, and you listen to singles on the radio and whatever, and you take a punt on an album. You'd
Yeah,
actually, you spend your 5.99 or whatever in a record
yeah,
shop. You pick an
yeah.
album and you play it to death anyway because you
Ooh,
spent that money and you were bound to love it because you couldn't say, "Oh, damn, I bought a turkey."
yeah,
But um, those days well and truly have gone, haven't they? I mean, when you think Taylor
yeah,
Swift last year was, I think she had 26 billion streams.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's unreal. But I think
yeah.
I think it's down to the age as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I can remember when I was a kid, when I was a teenager and I really got into music, because my mum was a absolutely amazing musician. She was a pianist,
Okay.
absolutely incredible, perfect pitch. Hear something once and play it perfectly. Unbelievable talent. So she was always very supportive. But before when I very first started, and I was in my early teens, you'd have your paper round money and you'd
Mm.
save up for an album. And it was a whole big sort of experience because you'd get on the bus, go into Salisbury, which was the nearest town, and I'd buy albums sometimes purely on the cover,
Yes.
Better than one. I looked at the cover and I just thought, oh, these guys look all right. And I mean, the album had just been released. I'd never heard of them. And I thought, oh, yeah, this looks all right. Yeah, I'll have a punt on this. Got home and went, fuck, what is this?
Mm.
Um, and on the way home, the other thing is on the way home, you'd be looking at the liner notes and the lyrics and the photos. If it was a gatefold, you'd be like, yeah, gatefold sleeve, and
Yeah.
have all. It was a physical product. It was you
Mm.
felt that you'd bought something, with an intrinsic value. But no, you just I've downloaded it. Oh, that's it. And it's
Yeah.
just it's only there on your computer if you start it up or on your phone or whatever. It's not there anymore in your hand.
Mm.
I still buy vinyls occasionally, and I've got quite a big vinyl collection, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that side of it. But I mean, all right, yeah, vinyl's making a bit of a comeback, and it's
Mm.
good. And a lot of our fans still go out and buy our stuff, even if it's just for their collection, even if they think the fucking thing sucks. They'll go and buy it, just say, oh, it's another Toykyo Blade album for the collection. And it goes. And
Yeah.
it's a tangible product, it's a tangible entity. Whereas, you know, something from Spotify or something, yeah, I heard it on Spotify, it sounded good. Or, I've downloaded it from iTunes or whatever. I don't know, it's not the same.
It's
But
it's not. Having said that, cassettes apparently making a comeback as well.
yeah, somebody told me that the other day, which stunned me completely. Because I remember all the aggravation of cassettes and pulling it out of the car and all the tape had unspooled in the machine, and you'd have
Yeah.
to you'd be like, fucking hell, that's my album, fuck now. But apparently, yeah, they've made a comeback. Largely because it's analog, and analog does have whether it's recorded onto an album or a cassette, it does have a different it has a warmth to it.
Mm.
There's a definite warmth to analog stuff, and it's been interesting in my journey as an engineer recording that when the digital age of recording first kicked off, the big thing was, oh, it's so clean, it's
Mm.
wonderful. There's no pops or scratches, and everything's so clean. And I've watched it almost within a couple of years, people going, yeah, but it's too clean, and trying to introduce that dirt to it that that an analog tape machine has, to the point we're at now where you take somebody like Andrew Sheps, fantastic engineer, done the Black Album with Metallica, Adele, Christ knows who. Mix it, his console, his massive, great Neve console is gone. He's got rid of it, and he mixes on a laptop. Because the plugins now are so good that the plugin designers have been working like crazy to get that analog warmth back into trying to get that back into the sound. So it's interesting, well, it interests me. Probably interesting. It's me, keeps me amused. So yeah.
You hadn't thought about going out and buying a big 2-inch tape machine to record your next album on, yeah?
God, no. Size, cost, maintenance, tape degradation. I mean, the Bohemian Rhapsody, I remember reading that there was so much that went on, because back in those days, you had 24 tracks.
Yeah.
Now you've got unlimited, but those days 24 tracks, and I've got an original 24-track version of Bohemian Rhapsody, so I can actually listen to it and isolate all of the tracks. And there's bits of vocal on a drum track, and there's bits of guitar on a bass track, and because they had to
cut and splice.
And I remember reading that by the time they finished, the tape was so thin that they were really concerned about the quality. That the tape was absolutely knackered.
Yeah.
So no, I would never go back to tape. Not a chance. I wouldn't be able to even afford the machine. I wouldn't have space for it. I certainly wouldn't want to be doing with the maintenance of it. The sheer hassle of recording with tape, back in the day, dropping in a part or whatever, it was just a nightmare to work with. So no, not for me. Definitely not.
Right. Andy, it's been an absolute pleasure. We're running out of time. I knew we'd keep talking. Times of Fire is out in January. I urge everybody to go and buy it because it is rather good. It's rather tasty. I'm going to be playing some of the singles, and once the album's released, a couple more of the tracks just to try and broaden everybody's eyes. And thank you for taking the time to speak to me, sir.
Thank you very much for taking the time to interview me and listen to my waffle. And if you could drop me a link of when the show is going out, I can pass that on to Pete Walker, our dear friend, who runs our Facebook page, and get that posted up so the fans can tune in and get you some more fans as well that may not have heard about the show. We would like to hear the interview. So yeah.
Okay, Andy, thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. You have a great day.
And you.